From Sovereign Bank Arena in Trenton, New Jersey, it's quarterfinal Saturday of the 2003 EUS Communications MAAC basketball tournament. Our first game has the 5th-seeded Iona Gales against the 4th-seeded Niagara Purple Eagles. And you see the brackets courtesy of GHI. The best game yesterday between St. Peter's and Ryder, won by the Peacocks in overtime. And down at the bottom, you see that the Gales cruised past Loyola to make it to the quarters. And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Trenton. Along with Rob Kennedy, this is Doug Sherman. And even though the final score yesterday for Iona looked like a blowout, they really did struggle early.
It was ugly for a while. There were more turnovers than points. But you know what? It may have been a blessing in disguise for Jeff Ruhlen's young team to get a game under their belt before they have to face this tough Niagara team.
And one of Iona's young guards really did step up offensively. Steve Burt scored a team-high 13.
The 6th time this season he's been the leading scorer. One of 3 freshman guards that helped make Iona go, especially off the bounce.
Meanwhile, Niagara has as good an interior game as anybody in the conference. Start with Juan Mendez, a first-team All-Star.
Well, he's the best low-post scorer in the league. You look at his numbers, also led the league in rebounding, 2nd in field goal percentage. Nothing new for him. He led the league last year. That's a good habit. Just make all your shots inside.
Absolutely. Here's a look at today's keys to the game, brought to you by HSBC, the world's local bank. First for Niagara.
Well, first of all, they want to force Iona to take some time off the clock and find points tough ways inside against their zone defense. And second of all, they want to dominate the paint where they have a big advantage. For Iona at the other end, they've got to take care of the basketball. When they do that, they win, including their win against Niagara, where they turned it over a season low 6 times. And then they've got to attack the zone, not only in the half court, but in the full court as well. Not allow Niagara to slow the game down.
Quarterfinal Saturday of the MAAC tournament is here in Trenton, New Jersey. When we come back, we'll have your starting lineups in the opening tip between Niagara and Iona on the MAAC Television Network.
This game is brought to you in part by the Pepsi-Cola Company, the joy of Pepsi. By GHI, healthcare coverage from A to Z. HSBC, the world's local bank. FYE for your entertainment, music, movies, games, and more. And by JetBlue Airways. It's not the only way to fly, but it should be.
Welcome back to Sovereign Bank Arena, everybody. Along with Rob Kennedy, this is Doug Sherman, and the starting lineups brought to you by I Love New York. Show your love for New York State. First for Niagara, and Rob, this has been said to be the most talented starting 5 in the conference.
Well, they don't have a lot of depth, but certainly you can make a case for this 5. They get a lot done, especially in the paint.
Mathis, Mendez, Reeves, Cruz, and Darden. Meanwhile, for Iona, a team that's already played once in the tournament, Niagara comes in rested. For the Gales, you've got Charles Henson, Steve Smith, Courtney Fields, Marvin McCullough, and Maceo Wofford. A mix of veteran and freshmen. We will see boatloads of freshmen coming off the bench.
And coming down the stretch, it's been the seniors who have gotten the starts. There was a stretch for Iona where all 3 freshmen were in the starting lineup for Jeff Ruhlen.
It's the prerogative of the head coach to switch things up, and as you mentioned, it has gone back and forth for Coach Ruhlen in his 5th season at his alma mater, and he will be coaching against Joe Mihalik, who is also in his 5th season as a head coach of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Mihalik from LaSalle, and now the head coach at Niagara University. And this is a team that made it all the way to the MAAC championship game last year before falling to Siena. And a lot of people think that Niagara is as dangerous a team to potentially be in Monday night's championship game as anybody.
Well, because of that talented starting 5, because they're able to slow the game down and make it a half-court game. When you get into tournament time, so important to be able to execute in the half-court. Niagara does that both offensively and defensively.
Well, during the regular season, these 2 teams split their games. And you see Iona leads the all-time series. And last year in the tournament, Niagara was the team that knocked the Gales out 89-83. So, whatever you make of that, throw it out the window, because what they do on the floor here, if Niagara can keep its starters on the floor for an average of 35 minutes apiece, they don't get into foul trouble, you got to like their chances. But for Iona, if they can keep their Steve Smith, Courtney Fields combination on the court, unlike yesterday, because of foul trouble, you got to like their chances.
No, fouls will be a problem tonight. We talked about the lack of depth of Niagara, so they've got to make sure guys don't get in foul trouble because they don't have people to come off the bench. One of the reasons why they play zone. And then for Iona, they need their front court guys because they do not have front court depth. So both these teams have short benches.
Well, yesterday, Courtney Fields, who is the leading scorer this year for Iona, played only 16 minutes in the win over Loyola because of foul trouble. As you see the officials for today's first game of our 3 quarterfinals here on MSG and Empire Sports Networks. And Steve Smith only played 20 minutes against the Greyhounds yesterday. He was very productive in his 20 minutes with 10 points and 9 rebounds. But again, Jeff Rulin needs both of those guys to log heavier minutes if they're going to get on to the semifinals.
One of the reasons why the first half was so ugly is those 2 guys were sitting next to Rules over on the bench.
Niagara in their home white uniforms with a purple trim as the higher seed. They're the number 4 seed, while the Gales are the number 5 seed, so they are in their road garnet uniforms.
Back-to-back years they meet in the 4-5 game with the same seeds as last year.
Fields clears the rebound off the Darden miss. Here is Fields. Had it stripped away by James Reeves. And it's Mendez who picked up the loose ball. Alvin Cruz, one of the best assist-to-turnover ratio men in the conference, gave it up to Mathis, who was blocked. And he will go to the line. After the initial block shot, Mathis kept coming, gets the basket and 1.
Well, Smith was able to block the first shot, but not the second. As we said, fouls will be a problem all evening long, especially inside where neither team has post depth off the bench. Right there, Smith picks up a quick foul. Less than a minute in, and he's got 1.
Well, where the Niagara post players are thick, the Iona post players are more slender. And you figure when there's going to be an occasion on the other end of the court, we just saw Rob with a loose ball on the floor, the big guy's going to get it. And then down here, Mathis was able to bull his way to the basket and draw the foul.
Yeah, size versus quickness. The post players for Iona, some of the most mobile post players in the MAAC.
Maceo Wolford pulls the trigger and hits. The three-pointer gets the Gales on the board. We're tied at 3.
Well, he's the all-time leader in Iona history. His 134th 3 on his career.
Shoots it at a 45% efficiency rate.
Talking to Jeff Rulin earlier today, he said, you know what, he's been passing up too many open threes. We need him to be more aggressive. He was aggressive that possession.
Reeves backing down. Lost it on the way up. He gave Steve Smith the elbow to the chops, and it turns into a slam dunk for Niagara.
There's the size.
Wolford answers right back. 6'5" Iona.
A little inside out, huh? It's Niagara scoring inside, and Iona making good use of the three-point shot. Wolford stepping out, making both of his attempts.
Wolford, 5'10" senior from Jamestown, New York. He's the captain of the team. And a foul inside against Niagara. And again, if you're Joe Mihalik, you really need to keep a close eye on Mendez and Reeves. When they get in foul trouble, things really can go south for the Purple Eagles.
Right off the bat, the officials trying to make sure they clean up the post play.
That's the first on Reeves and the first on Niagara.
We'll see Niagara throughout the game in their full court pressure to create tempo. Most teams press to try and quicken the game. They press softly to slow the game up.
Wolford to Marvin McCullough for 3. Nothing but net. Iona 3 for 3 from outside the arc so far here in the early going.
Well, that's one way to shoot over top the zone defense.
Darden tried to answer but couldn't, and we've got a rebounding foul against Niagara. James Mathis gets called for it.
Remember yesterday, Iona got off to the quick start, a 9-1 lead over Loyola before they allowed the Greyhounds to get back into the game. So another quick start for the Gales.
Iona has yet to shoot from inside the arc, as you see there.
Now here, Niagara mixes it up. You knock down 3 straight threes, you get out of the zone and go man.
Jamel Darden gets the pushing foul. Joe Mihalik asking for an explanation, and he gets it. So that's the first on Darden and the third against Niagara. Charles Henson in the game now, handling for Iona. Smith posting. Over Reeves. Rebound Fields, who lays it in. So that time, Iona able to pump the ball inside.
And that's the athletic ability of Fields. Maybe the most talented player athletically in the league. The combination of size, athletic ability, and skill.
And there's Henson deflecting the pass once, but then Reeves gets it back and lays it in.
Those two guys do a great job in the high-low. Nice pass inside by Mendez.
Whistle and yet another foul in the front court. James Mathis gets his second and the fourth against Niagara.
Mathis, one of the guys that can afford to get into foul trouble. He starts, but is quickly replaced by Brooks, who is their instant offense off the bench.
David Brooks and Rossi Caron. A little bit of Paul DeWitt, and other than that, we don't see much of the bench players out of Niagara. Smith to the cutting McCullough, who gets the roll.
McCullough, the natural lefty. All three freshman guards for Iona are left-handed. That time, able to finish with his weak hand, the right hand.
Reeves steps in and puts it up from 19.
Again, in the high-low, they do such a good job. They're interchangeable. Reeves and Mendez, one guy inside on the low block and the other at the high post.
And don't be fooled by the size of Reeves. He can stroke that jumper, and Tremel Darden can throw it down.
One of the best athletes in the league right there in the open floor.
Wofford misses. Reeves the rebound. 13-11, Iona with the lead. Niagara with the basketball. 16-10 to go here in the first half. Alvin Cruz to the trailing Reeves. That's two in a row for the big fella.
He's feeling it right now. Stepping in, both shots straight on from the high post. Doing it at both ends of the floor. You know, he can dominate a game with his rebounding, as he did in last year's MAAC tournament. Ended up making all tournament, averaging nearly 16 boards a game.
During the regular season this year, he was number 2 in the league in rebounds per game at 8 per game, trailing only his teammate, Juan Mendez. Wofford off the up fake. Bounce pass to Fields, who'll bring it back out with 7 to shoot.
Much better recovery out of the zone to Wofford.
Henson tries to create with the shot clock down, but we've got a whistle and a foul. Foul goes against Steve Smith, and we have ourselves a timeout. Tremel Darden and the Niagara Purple Eagles in a 13-all tie early here in Trenton. HSBC is proud to sponsor the HSBC Family Section. HSBC salutes the MAAC and today's families in attendance. HSBC, the world's local bank. We're here in central New Jersey, and is this Yankees country or Phillies country?
Well, now it's going to be Yankees country, as the Trenton Thunder have changed affiliations. Used to be a Boston Red Sox affiliation, and now the Trenton Thunder, who play down the street at Riverfront Stadium, will be a Yankee affiliate. But this is split country. You get some Philly fans and some Yankee fans.
We're tied at 13, Iona and Niagara, our first quarterfinal here at Sovereign Bank Arena in Trenton, New Jersey. This is Brooks just off the bench to Mendez. Found himself open, knocks down the little 6-foot jumper.
Interior passing has been very good for Niagara here to start things off.
Good balance by the Purple Eagles. 4 different players into the scoring column so far. 5 minutes in. Iona down 2 with a basketball.
And it's their post players that have been scoring, but it's been with outside jump shots, face-up shots from their post guys.
Here's Fields from the high post. He stepped in and allowed Reeves to get a hand in his face. Fields once again pulls it out. Soliver on the baseline. Meets Mook Reeves and pulls it back out.
He's so quick with the basketball.
3-second violation. So the Purple Eagles get the ball back. Both teams shooting well so far. Niagara 6 out of 9, Iona 5 out of 8. And the perimeter shooting for the Gales has been terrific. 3 for 3. A couple by Wofford, 1 by McCullough.
Those 2 guys combining for 11 points. So it's the backcourt of Iona versus the front court of Niagara so far as scoring is concerned.
Alvin Cruz, the look-away pass. Mendez absorbs the contact and gets the basket.
If you're going to try and foul him, you better come hard. Joe Mahalik calls him the best finisher he's ever coached. Remember, this is a guy who coached Lionel Simmons when he was an assistant at LaSalle. Mendez has the ability to take contact. Terrific athlete. Right here attacking the rim and going right through the contact. Just bounces Henson right off.
That's the third team foul against Iona, and number 1 against Henson. Mendez completes the three-point play. He's got 5.
Another one of the young stars here in the MAAC conference, just a sophomore. He's got a terrific upside.
On the first team all-conference club, 3 sophomores. Soliver misses, and it goes up over the top of the backboard, so the dead ball rebound goes to the Purple Eagles. On that last possession for Niagara, we got a chance to see Alvin Cruz, who doesn't get as much publicity as perhaps he should. Sophomore point guard for Niagara. Led the conference this year at nearly 6 assists per game. This is Cruz right now, and he is terrific with the basketball.
And he's the key to this team, too. When he plays well, the Purple Eagles are tough to beat.
Cruz allows the long rebound to go out of bounds. It'll be Niagara basketball. Kirill Waxman and Steve Burt Jr. come into the game. Henson goes out, as does Wolford.
More of the youth movement here in the MAAC. I mean, there's so many good young players. As you mentioned, Cruz, a guy that gets overlooked at times because of the other young, talented point guards and young guards in this league. But he's a guy that really makes this team go.
And probably overlooked because he doesn't score quite as much as the other guys. He's more of a true point guard. Here's Mendez, another strong post move, but Waxman picks off the rebound. Burt left alone from the corner. Just off the bench, he couldn't get it. And we've got a foul after the loose ball. Burt. Looks like Alvin Cruz gets the foul. It's a good hustle by Steve Burt Jr. off his own miss.
Oh, Burt, very quick player. Both guys going after the basketball. That's a tough call right there.
Number 1 on Cruz, number 5 on Niagara. Gales have cooled off considerably. Steve Burt Jr. connects.
Well, Burt's got a scorer's mentality, and why not? Just like his dad, huh? Former MVP of this MAAC tournament was his father. To go back to 1984 when Steve Burt Sr. was the MVP. One of the 6 times that Iona was able to capture the MAAC tournament championship. That's a league record.
And Pat Kennedy was the coach of the year that season. And Steve Burt, not only, as you say, the MVP of the tournament, also won Player of the Year honors. James Reeves, too strong off the glass. Waxman with another rebound.
Waxman just held his ground defensively.
Nice hustle by Reeves to deflect that ball out of bounds. It'll be Iona ball, 12:41 to go first half. 18-15, Niagara with the lead. Niagara trying to get Rossi Karen into the game. They do. And Barry DeRosier comes in. Cruz and Darden will take a seat, so a smaller lineup now for Niagara. Burt well short again. Waxman with his 3rd rebound since coming off the bench. Burt, offensive foul.
Burt trying to be aggressive, came up short with the 3 and then attacking the rim on the kick out. Would have been better off just pulling up for the jump shot. Instead leaves his feet, aggressively attacking the rim, but picked up the charge.
The Gales in their full court pressure. Inbound comes to Reeves, who tries to get it back to Karen and does, but a reach-in foul against Sullivan.
Boy, the officials, yeah, but I tell you what, they're calling this one close, huh? The 10th team foul already here. We've yet to play 8 minutes.
Paul Fayed just went to Soliver and said, take it easy. And you can certainly tell they're trying to set a tone here. And Jeff Rulin knows a thing or two about banging on a basketball court. Brooks, look away pass, broken up by Burt with terrific hustle, but he's called for the foul. Number 2 on Burt. And just like that, Iona has 16 fouls. So Burt will go out, and the senior Wolford comes back in. Mendez goes straight up, missed it, and Fields with the rebound.
A lot more contact on that play than the last whistle.
Waxman working on Reeves. Able to get it to Soliver somehow for three, and he connects.
Maybe not the way they diagrammed it, but they'll take the three. Broken play. And Soliver, again, shooting the ball so much better than he was early in the season. He's a terrific shooter, yet couldn't find the mark early on.
11:52 to go first half. We're tied at 18. Rossi Karen off the mark. Fields with another rebound. Karen doesn't shoot a lot from outside, only a 17% three-point shooter. Waxman with a jump hook. Reeves another rebound and a lot of contact. It's going against Iona. McCullough took the brunt of that contact, although Reeves seems to be the slowest getting up. We've got a timeout on the floor. We're tied at 18. Ricky Soliver and the Gales trying to move on to the semifinals here on the MAAC Television Network. Welcome back to Trenton, New Jersey. James Mook Reeves at the line for a 1-and-1. That was the 7th team foul against Iona. And so Reeves, who already has 6 points for Niagara, will shoot 1-and-1.
I think the 1-and-1 situation caught the officials off guard. Huh? It's so quick into the game. We played not even 7.5 minutes, yet we're already into the 1-and-1 situation. Excuse me, 8.5 minutes.
8.5.
There you go. Do the math, huh?
Reeves, a junior from Rochester, played his high school ball at Edison Tech. Fields with another rebound. Dangerous pass. McCullough gives it back to Soliver. Wolford shoots it over Darden. Darden gets the rebound. That time Darden able to get close enough to Wolford just to throw him off. Brooks gives it back to Darden. 3-on-2. Darden lost his footing. Finds Mendez for the basket and one.
Clearly, Iona, the team that's going to want to get out and run. They're the team that wants to play in the 80s, but Niagara will oblige as they get out in transition. Took a while. Darden may have gotten away with the walk, but as soon as he puts the ball in Mendez's hands, he finishes.
No doubt about it. He is a premier finisher in this league. 6'7" sophomore who calls Montreal home now, but he played his high school ball in Florida, in Melbourne, Florida, and actually was a teammate of Alvin Cruz, so they were kind of a package deal. Coming to Niagara University. Mendez makes a pair, and now we've got another timeout with 11:15 to go. 22-18, our score, Niagara on top on the MAAC Television Network. Niagara with a 4-point lead here in Trenton with 11:15 to go in the first half of this MAAC quarterfinal. And much like yesterday's first game, Iona came out hot from the perimeter.
Especially from beyond the three-point line. They hit their first 3 threes, including 2 by Maceo Wolford and 1 by Marvin McCullough. And here on the kick out, Soliver gets into the act as well. So the Gales 4 for 8 from beyond the three-point line. That's been most of their offense for Jeff Rulin's team.
But that is not the style of play he wants to rely on. He wants to get the ball inside as well and mix things around. But so far, if you're hitting 4 out of 8, I guess it's all right. Keep shooting.
And a lot of those were against the zone defense from Niagara early on. They actually shot Niagara out of the zone for a while, but the Purple Eagles will continue to mix things up between man and zone. They don't want to allow Iona to get into a rhythm offensively.
And I would imagine we're going to see a lot more shading toward Maceo Wolford after he hit those first 2. Niagara with the 8 points off of turnovers. And they lead by 4. Iona, though, with the basketball. Under 11 minutes to go first half. Shot clock at 10. High post, Soliver gets it over Reeves, but short. It goes out of bounds, and it'll stay at this end for Iona off of the Purple Eagles.
Fuck out of here.
The officials talking about, I guess, possession again, making sure they got it right. Both coaches have their own opinions.
And neither one of them agreeing with much that's gone on from the guys in stripes so far early on. They've not been able to get themselves in a tempo or a rhythm.
Well, the first 6-7 minutes of this game seemed to have tremendous tempo, but the last 4 or 5 have really slowed down. A lot of foul calls. Teams haven't shot quite as well. At least Iona's not shot as well. Waxman from the high post.
And he's a guy that's got terrific perimeter skills. That time from the high post.
Freshman out of All Hallows makes it a 2-point game once again.
Well, the 3 freshmen from that All Hallows team from last year. Not a bad pipeline.
Darden. That's 3 for Tremel Darden, the junior out of Las Vegas. He now has 5 points, and it's a 5-point lead for Niagara.
And he's really worked on his outside shooting this offseason, shooting the ball so much better from beyond the 3-point line. He's always been a superior athlete. Now when he knocks down outside shots, really hard to guard.
He's at 35% as a junior. Henson backs it out to the corner. Cross court. And the quick release is good for 3. Another triple for Ricky Soliver.
And that skip pass over top of the zone will get you open looks from the deep.
Iona back to 2 down. 9:25 to go here in the first half.
So the 3-point shot has been a huge weapon for Iona here in the first half.
Niagara trying to win its 4th straight game. And the 3-pointer by Brooks extends the lead back to 5.
Brooks is their instant O off the bench, had 15 in their last game against Marist on 5 threes, so a guy that can knock it down from deep.
Both these teams went 16 and 11 in the regular season. Pretty even matchup, about as even as you can get. And as we mentioned, it's the number 4 seed against the number 5 seed here in the quarterfinals. Henson and a goaltend. Mendez blocked the shot on its way down. So count the 2 for Henson, his first points here today, and Iona's back within 3.
Henson found himself unguarded in the middle of the zone defense, put the ball to the floor to go create. That was an easy one for the officials, clearly on its way down.
And again, if you wonder how a 4 seed can play a 5 seed in the quarterfinals, it's because the number 1 seed, Manhattan, has a bye all the way to the semifinals, which throws everything off just a little bit, but again, rewarding the regular season champ. And for the regular season champion Manhattan Jaspers, they are coming back down today after spending last night back up in the Bronx. Rather than spending 2 days in a hotel, they were down for yesterday's awards presentations. Bobby Gonzalez gets the Coach of the Year, and Luis Flores gets Player of the Year as expected. But after their awards ceremony late yesterday afternoon, they went back to the Bronx, had practice today as normal, and will be coming back down later.
And it's a huge advantage, but it should be. I mean, if you win the regular season, what's your reward? And if the tournament's not going to be at the home court of the highest seed, then you might as well put them into the semifinals. I like it. And the MAAC not alone. The Horizon is doing it this year, as well as the West Coast Conference. So other mid-major conferences trying to reward their regular season champs by giving them the advantage, put them into the semifinals. Avoid that quarterfinal or first round upset.
And you know, Rob, usually when you have any sort of change, you hear people with dissenting opinions. I've not heard any of that. There may be opinions like that, but typically you hear it. I haven't heard that. Everybody seems to like this new system.
I think especially when you have a clear-cut winner of the league. I think you would have heard some more chirping if you had a tie situation. And we said it the other day. We had the game Sunday up at Manhattan. They were able to win and win the outright championship. But had they lost that game, they would have been in a tie for first with Fairfield. And the tiebreakers went all the way down to the 7th seed in Ryder. Then you would have had people chirping about putting one team all the way through to the semifinal.
Absolutely. 8 minutes to go here in the first half. 28-25. Niagara with the lead. Iona with the basketball. Marvin McCullough passed it inside, but Fields couldn't handle. Smith gives back to Fields. Went to the left hand, but misfired. Smith is fouled by Alvin Cruz. And that puts Niagara over the limit. And on Alvin Cruz, that is his second. So number 7 on the team. And a 1-1 coming up for the Gales. Rossi Karen comes back into the game, replacing Cruz, as Joe Mihalik now will have to protect his starting point guard. But bringing in Rossi Karen is not a real problem by any stretch of the imagination. In previous years, this now senior has spent plenty of time as the starting point guard for this program.
Yeah, his entire sophomore season before Cruz arrived up in Buffalo, he was the starting point guard. He gives them good minutes off the bench. Doesn't score a whole lot, but he's able to run the team, especially with Cruz on the bench.
Steve Smith, junior from Newcastle, Delaware, whose dad is here in attendance this weekend. We saw him and keeping track of all three of their sons, all three college basketball players over the last few years. And Steve led the conference in field goal percentage during the regular year at 60%.
He and his younger brother Devin were teammates last year in junior college. Devin ended up being the junior college player of the year. Had a terrific first season for Virginia.
He's a Virginia Cavalier, and Steve is an Iona Gale. And older brother Charles, one of the all-time greats in Rider history, just up the road in Lawrenceville. David Brooks with a three.
And boy, has he been hot from beyond the three-point line. 5 threes against Marist. He's got 2 already here in the first half.
7:10 to go here in the first half. 31-26. Niagara holding on to a 5-point lead. McCullough strong to the basket, but he missed it. Mendez rips the rebound away, and here comes Rossi Karen. Brooks defended by Wofford, but he left him with the crossover. Wofford the rebound.
Broke ankles, just didn't finish.
Wofford's pass way too far out in front, and it goes into the bench for a turnover. We've got a timeout, 6:51 to go. 31-26, Niagara leads Iona here on the MAAC Television Network. .6:51 to go first half. 31-26 Niagara with the lead. This is the first of our triple header here at the MAAC tournament. Glad you could join us for this 4:30 tip-off, and it'll be followed at around 7 o'clock by St. Peter's against Fairfield, and then the late game, Marist versus Siena. And check your local listings, but we should be with you all the way through, quite likely on the air with MAAC basketball until midnight or later. It's always that way on these Saturdays.
We get ourselves another overtime game like we did last night. We could trudge deep into the evening.
Shooting continues to be a strength for both sides. Niagara at 57%, 3 out of 5 from downtown, but Rossi Karen puts a chink into those numbers just a bit. Wofford presses it up to Steve Burt. Fields back out to Wofford. Good ball movement to find the open man for 3.
And that's the pace Iona would like to play at. Attack, rebound, get out and run. And even if they don't get something out in transition, a little secondary break gets them to within a bucket.
And Wofford now 3 out of 4 from outside the arc.
Battle inside between Smith and Mendez.
Reeves steps in again. That's his third 18-foot jumper here today.
And this time Fields actually came out and challenged him. The first time that he's done that. They're trying to double inside to keep the ball out of Mendez's hands, and that's why Reeves has been wide open in that high-low situation.
Reeves now has 9 points. Mendez has 8, and it's a 33-29 Niagara lead.
And he'll force Iona to make an adjustment defensively. They got to get out and guard him on a high post.
Steve Burt Jr. back into the game playing with 2 fouls. Shot clock winding down to 6. Fields able to get it in, his second bucket here today.
And that's what he's got to do. He's got to be aggressive. At times, it's too easy for him. You know, he's so talented that at times he takes himself out of the game by disappearing.
Mendez with tremendous position on Steve Smith with the easy layup. He's now into double figures.
He just put Smith in jail. Remember, Smith trying to avoid foul problems, had to play from behind and not guard him.
Wofford misses. Mendez had possession. Smith knocked it out of bounds, and so it's Niagara basketball.
There's this play right here. Just too much of Mendez inside against Smith playing from behind. Already has the 1 foul that he picked up in the first 30 seconds of play, so not able to be as aggressive defensively against Mendez.
Mendez has 10 points and 3 rebounds. He averaged 18 points and 8.5 rebounds per game. The rebounds, #1 in the conference. He had 7 double-doubles, and all this from a sophomore with plenty more to come. Underneath, Darden goes to the reverse. He has really built his upper body to be able to do stuff like that.
Well, he's so strong up top and gets off the floor. He's a powerful leaper. One of the reasons why he's able to finish inside. You have Mendez and him able to finish inside better than any duo in the league.
Wofford back out to Burt. 4:18 to go in the half. 37-31 Niagara. Iona was able to cut it to 2 moments ago, but the turnover gives Niagara the ball back and a chance to build on their now 6-point lead.
And that's the 6th turnover already for Iona. In their last game against Niagara, a win for Jeff Rulin's team, they had 6 turnovers for the entire game, so kicking it around right now. And that was an unforced error last possession.
Right, and I was thinking the exact same thing, Rob, that we don't in basketball keep track of unforced turnovers, but that clearly was one of them, that there was no defensive pressure causing that errant pass at all. Under 4 minutes to go here in the half. David Brooks finds Reeves, goes to the corner. Wide open Darden, well short. Reeves crashes the boards but missed. And Steve Burt holds on to the ball. He and Reeves got tied up, and it'll go the other way. The alternate possession arrow gives the ball back to Iona. They'll have it when we come back. Timeout, 3:38 on the clock. 37-31 Niagara here on the MAAC Television Network.
I know most of you just graduated high school last year, or maybe you've been working for a while, seen some things, done some things, but nothing has prepared you for what's going to happen now. We're going to set goals for each of you, way up here, way up here, and then we're going to help you exceed them, believe it. And when finished, you're going to have not just a degree, you'll be a different person, a better person. Welcome to Iona.
Aspire, achieve. Iona. Call Iona College at 1-800-231-IONA.
This game is brought to you in part by Coach USA, the best way to see New York City. The New York Lottery. New York Lotto gives you 2 games for $1, so play today. Hey, you never know. I love New York. Show your love for New York State. And by Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right.
The winner of the New York Lottery MAAC Scholar Athlete Award is Phil Cavo, a sophomore guard at Siena College from New Hartford, New York. Cavo's an English major with a 3.68 grade point average. The New York Lottery will provide a new computer to Cavo's elementary school outside of Utica. The award is based on GPA, community participation, and good sportsmanship. The New York Lottery, supporting education since 1967, salutes Phil Cavo for his achievements. And if that name sounds familiar to you, his older brother Andy was on the all-tournament team last year for Siena. They were teammates, but now Phil carrying on the tradition. Foul on Paul DeWitt, just off the bench for Niagara, picks up his first, and it's the 8th against Niagara, so Charles Henson will shoot 1 and, or rather will shoot 2, a shooting foul. Iona down by 6.
Henson has really worked on his foul shooting, shot it at just 52% last season. Of course, as I say that, he bricks one up, up to 64% on this season. Looked more like the 52% foul shooter on that one.
Henson, McCullough, Soliver, Wofford, and Waxman on the floor. So 3 freshmen right now for the Gales. Henson gets the 64% roll.
Yeah, notice front rim, and now all of a sudden it's climbing in.
Yeah.
Nice backspin on the basketball.
Alvin Cruz back in the game at the point for Niagara. He is playing with 2 personal fouls, so keep an eye on number 10 in white.
Darden trying to post up Soliver inside, and that's why.
Good help by Henson. He's a terrific shot blocker and winds up getting the ball off of the out of bounds. Niagara was the last to touch.
See Jeff Rowland begging for the over-the-back call, huh? Good defensive rotation by Henson, the leading shot blocker for the Gales at 44 on the season.
Joe Mihalik protecting Cruz on an offense-defense switch. Gets Karen back in with the Purple Eagles back on defense. Give and go to Wofford. Reeves made him take a tough shot. McCullough with the putback.
Well, smallest guy on the floor for Iona, able to somehow corral the rebound inside and quickly put it back up.
7 points for Marvin McCullough. It's back to a 3-point game. Niagara on top by 3. Karen makes it a 6-point game, 40-34.
So much for the offensive defensive substitution. He comes in and knocks down a deep shot.
This, after I said earlier, he doesn't shoot it too well, only 17%, but he looked very comfortable on that shot. Waxman in the high post, back out front. Wofford thought about it. Shot clock at 11. Soliver fires up a 3. And the rebound comes to Niagara. David Brooks. Cross court. Karen. Tremel Darden. Back out Reeves. Good ball movement to find Brooks for 3.
Excellent execution right there. As you said, Doug, the extra pass and ball movement out on the perimeter gets Brooks a wide open 3. He's 3 for 3 from beyond the 3-point line.
Pressure broken, and Wofford will set up. 1.5 minutes to go in the first half. It is a 9-point lead, 43-34 Niagara. Soliver, nice move to the basket with the right hand for 2, and a quick timeout called by Iona. Jeff Rulin wants to set up the defense here with a 30-second timeout.
Well, Soliver's got that scorer's mentality. His numbers have continued to climb as the season's gone on, now averaging in double figures. The quick first step to get by the defender and finishes with the right hand.
Ricky Soliver made the all-rookie team, announced earlier this week. And tell me that doesn't look like a coach coaching kids.
Yeah, right.
Him being a head taller than everybody else, you can rest your hands comfortably on everybody's shoulder.
He is a big, imposing figure over on the sideline.
There are only 2 of his players that can even look him in the eye.
Yep. The all-time great players, not only in Iona college history, but he put up some incredible numbers his junior year. Put Iona back on the basketball map under Coach Jim Valvano.
And he went on to become a 2-time All-Star in the NBA and then came back to complete his degree upon finishing his pro career. Alvin Cruz back into the game at the point with just over 1 minute to go. Niagara with the ball, leading 43-36. Shot clock at 10. And now Cruz will look to start the offense. Off of the screen. He has to fire it up. Partially blocked. The putback by Mendez right before the horn went off. And a timeout called by Joe Mihalik.
And that timeout will be to get a substitution into the game. You got to use it or lose it timeout. Trying to protect Cruz with his foul troubles. How about this finish right here by Mendez? I mean, he gets hammered right there. How in the world do you not get a foul call? But it doesn't matter. He just fights right through the contact.
Henson was draped all over him. Mendez now into double figures further with 12 points. And that's a rebound for him off of the air ball. And so he has helped Niagara in their battle of the boards. But they trailed. No, that was even 13-13 in the battle of the boards. Over the past minute 40, Niagara has gone on an 8-2 run to open up this 9-point lead. About 5 seconds difference between the shot clock and game clock right now. The game clock is at 32.
After attacking the soft 2-2-1 full court pressure, Iona has to back it out. Shot clock winding down to 10 seconds.
Darden called for the reach-in foul. That is his second and the 9th against Niagara. Randy Williams will come in and replace Charles Henson for the last 16 seconds of the half for the Gales.
Henson goes out having scored 3 points.
Joe Mihalik thought long and hard about getting Alvin Cruz back into the game, but instead figures he'll get by with the last possession and not pick up the extra foul.
McCullough's a 63% foul shooter. He gets the roll on the first. This young man plays the most minutes per game of anybody on the Iona roster.
He's been steady as a rock right from the start. The only Gale to start every game this season. Not often you see a freshman leading your team in minutes.
2 out of 2. He's got 9. He and Wofford both with 9 to lead the Gales, who are back within 7. Rossi Karen gets the ball into Mook Reeves. Back to Karen. Dave Brooks will pull it out. 10 seconds left in the first half. Brooks with his head down all the way to the basket. Can't get the roll. The tip up and in by James Mook Reeves. And the Purple Eagles with a couple of big offensive putbacks late here in the first half go to the locker room with a 9-point lead. We are at the half. 47-38. Niagara leads Iona here on the MAAC Television Network. Niagara with a 9-point lead at the half, the first of our men's quarterfinals here at Sovereign Bank Arena. Welcome back, everybody. Rob Kennedy, Doug Sherman, and we talked to the open that Niagara had to stay out of foul trouble, particularly the 2 big guys inside, Juan Mendez and James Mook Reeves. They've done that. Between them, just 1 foul so far. They're both in double figures, and Niagara with the lead.
Yeah, 1 foul, 23 points. Not bad for the big guys inside. We said they'd have to dominate the paint, and they've done that. Their guy that they've had to protect with foul problems is Cruz, and they've been able to do that.
That's why they've got Rossi Karen coming off the bench, a senior backup point guard who's done the job. Meanwhile, for Iona, it's been a struggle defensively, giving up 47 points in the first half. I know Jeff Ruland is addressing that in the locker room as we speak. The brackets brought to you by GHI, and you can see what happened yesterday and what's still to come today.
Obviously, the winner of this game moves on into the semifinals as Manhattan, the regular season champ, waits there in that semifinal slot. 2 more good games to come later this evening.
Hope you can stay with us. We'll take a break right now. More to come at halftime. The Niagara Purple Eagles with a 47-38 lead over the Iona Gales here on the MAAC Television Network. We are back at the half in Trenton with Iona trailing Niagara 47-38. The winner of this one will go on to the MAAC semifinals tomorrow night. And we're pleased now to be joined by a couple of folks from the Special Olympics here in New Jersey. Marley Martinez, the communications director, thank you for joining us. And Jessica Licata, who is a Special Olympics athlete from here in New Jersey. Welcome. Yeah. And first of all, I want to know what sports you play, and is basketball part of what you do?
Basketball is not a part of what I do, but I do compete in swimming and bowling.
And do you have a preference? Which one you like more?
I like swimming the most.
What do you like about swimming the most?
I like being in the water, and it kind of is a calming thing to do after a hard day's work.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite event in swimming?
Freestyle.
Freestyle. I understand that. What are some of the achievements you've had? I'm guessing you've won some medals.
Yes, I've won a couple gold medals, and some second places and third. I've also gotten some ribbons, but I was lucky enough, 1999, to be able to go to the World Games in North Carolina.
Terrific. Terrific. Well, I want to ask Marley about some of the projects that are coming up for Special Olympics New Jersey, if you can tell us about that.
Well, sure. We conduct 140 events throughout the year, and we provide competition and training in 23 Olympic-type sports. Mm-hmm. So what we have right now is our spring season coming up and our basketball finals,
right?
April 5th and 6th, and then we have bowling finals, which Jessica participates in, the next 2 coming weekends.
And if people want to participate in the Special Olympics, how can we get more people involved?
Well, people that would like to participate, either volunteer, contribute, or just come out to our events and look at the athletes' abilities, can just call 1-800-650-7665 to find out the events in New Jersey, or they can go on our website, sonj.org.
And let's give those again. Let's give the number again, just in case people are grabbing a pen.
Yes, the toll-free number in New Jersey is 1-800-650-7665, and the website is sonj.org.
Terrific. Well, thank you very much for joining us, both of you, and enjoy the rest of the basketball today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and I just want to say that I'm grateful to the MAAC teams for inviting me today.
Well, we appreciate it. It's our pleasure to have you here. Absolutely.
Great. You have a good day.
You too. We'll take a break and come back with more basketball. We're at the half, 47-38 Niagara on the MAAC Television Network. Our halftime score, Niagara 47, Iona 38. Our first quarterfinal of the 2003 EUS Communications MAAC basketball tournament. And we take a look at the first half statistics brought to you by FYE. And boy, 56% is great for Niagara, but not so good for the Iona defense. They've got a lot of work to do in the second half.
As you said, Doug, they gave up 47 points in the first half, mainly because Niagara was on fire, got a lot of open looks. Iona's got to switch it up defensively and get out and challenge shooters.
This is just the first of our 3 men's games here this evening from Trenton. Coming up after this one, the second-seeded Fairfield Stags will take on St. Peter's. And then the final game will have Siena against Marist, scheduled to tip off around 9:15. Glad you could join us. We'll take a break here on the MAAC Television Network. This game is brought to you in part by Broadway Marketing, mind-bending branded solutions. By the New York Lottery. New York Lotto gives you 2 games for $1, so play today. Hey, you never know. I love New York. Show your love for New York State. And by Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right. And with both offenses in the first half, Rob, being so efficient, Niagara shooting 56% from the floor, Iona shooting 47% from the floor. It's no wonder as we take a look at our first half highlights that it basically looks like a shooting drill.
Especially from the outside. Both teams knocking it down from beyond the 3 at 50%. And Iona got out to the quick start, knocked down their first 3 threes. That got them going. It's been a perimeter game for them, 6 of 12 from beyond the three-point line. Everybody getting into it. Soliver stepping up, knocking down a 3 as well.
But Niagara was able to answer back from the perimeter. Tremel Darden with the 3. James Reeves had 3 straight perimeter jump shots, each from just inside the line. Rossi Karen even got into the act, and when David Brooks knocked down another shot, well, the Niagara Purple Eagles had themselves a 47-38 lead into the locker room, and so Niagara with that comfort level and knowing that with the interior looks they've consistently gotten from Juan Mendez, quite likely the open looks will continue unless Iona is really able to clamp down.
Well, they've had good balance. They've gotten things done inside with
especially Mendez, but Reeves as well. But Reeves, a guy that's given him some perimeter. And that's because they're collapsing the second defender. The guy guarding him is trying to keep the ball out of Mendez's hands. So they've had good balance of inside and out.
Meanwhile, Mendez continues to get his points. He is 5 of 7 from the floor for his 11 points. He's got 4 assists in kicking them out. And we are underway in the second half. Mathis inbounds to Cruz. Niagara with that 9-point lead with the basketball first here in the second half. Darden, Reeves, Mendez, Cruz, who's playing with 2 fouls, and Mathis. And Cruz makes it a double-figure lead just like that. His first bucket of the game.
He was able to get some rest there in the first half with the foul problems, but comes out and aggressive on his first touch.
Henson forced the shot. Fields with a rebound, hands off to Steve Smith, who puts it home.
And Fields and Smith, they've got to step it up and get aggressive themselves. We've said that Niagara's had good balance of inside and out. The Gales, on the other hand, have not had that same type of balance. Those two guys have to step up and get some things done in the paint.
Well, that was just his first bucket. Those two guys each averaged 13 points, and so far combined they have just 7. Back to a 9-point game. Darden lost it on the way, but Fields is going to be whistled for the blocking foul, and that is his 3rd. So now Jeff Ruland has a big decision to make right here. What do you do with your 6'9" senior forward who just picked up number 3 only 1 minute into the second half?
Well, you got to keep him in the ball game and hope that he's able to play aggressive defense and not pick up his 4th foul.
There is Mendez, just a little taller than Smith on the lob entry pass, able to get it and go in and score.
Niagara now with their largest lead. Good catch, and once again the finish by Mendez. He's so efficient when he gets touches inside.
18:35 to go second half. McCullough and Wolford working in the backcourt, and Cruz just picked up his 3rd foul.
And since Maceo Wolford hit those couple threes for Jeff Ruland's team, Niagara's done a much better job shading out of the zone defense and getting out with the hand in his face.
I would imagine we'll see Rossi Karen off the Niagara bench before long. Marvin McCullough. Little push off, able to get himself some space, but he missed the jumper, and it'll go to Niagara. The Purple Eagles come in riding a 3-game winning streak. And they would love to put together 3 wins here this weekend and win the MAAC championship.
Well, they've played well down the stretch. They've won 6 of 7. Lean in right there by Darden. He was just looking for the contact. Instead, found a bucket.
Quickly back the other way, the left-handed layup by Courtney Fields.
And that's why Iona wants to run, especially their post guys. They have the ability to beat people up the floor.
53-42 Niagara. 17:50 to go in the second half. Let's see if the Gales can run again. McCullough, though, is out there by himself.
That's where he's got to be aggressive. I mean, Fields never looked at the basket. As we said, he's a guy who gets neutralized by defenses at times and by his lack of aggressive play on the offensive end at other times. He takes himself out of the game.
Now the shot clock down to 12. McCullough penetrates. Nice move and the finger roll.
Well, good job to show the basketball and then the quick extended dribble to get by the defense. The freshman stepping up and giving him some life.
He is the first Gale to get to double figures with 11 points. It's back to a 9-point game, 53-44 Niagara. 17 minutes to go here in the second half. It'll be Niagara ball underneath. Alvin Cruz holds it on his hip, takes a look over at his head coach Joe Mihalik, who calls out the play. And the shot clock at 10 forces Niagara to pick it up just a bit. Down to 5. Reeves strong to the basket, but an offensive foul against James Reeves. And that is his 2nd.
Once again, out of the high-low, Reeves has knocked down a couple shots, so now the defense comes out, challenges. He puts the ball to the floor, but too much ground to cover. Got to take the pull-up, get into the lane, and finish with the short jumper.
Wofford, the entry pass to Fields. Nice job to get into the lane off the fake and put it in.
And that's the aggressive play that they need from him. He's too good a player. He's so talented, can make things happen, but he's got to step up and have that scorer's mentality.
He made the second-team All-Star squad in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference this year.
It's a preseason first-team pick, and I would suspect he probably was the leading vote-getter on the second team.
Mendez picks up his first foul. Take a look at Fields once again, the ball fake. And Reeves now with 2 fouls. Didn't really come over to help out. Fields got a nice look. Meanwhile, Mendez commits his first, and it's the third against the Purple Eagles here in the second half.
Well, Brooks in his perfect 3 for 3 from beyond the three-point line. Quickly get into the game. The instant offense that Joe Mahalik has off his bench. How about Niagara taking care of the basketball? Huh? Just 3 turnovers so far.
Just 1 in the first half. We talked last night how rarely we see a single game with a half played and only 1 turnover in a game. We've had it twice in 2 days now.
And think about that. Cruz was on the bench for 7 minutes in that first half with foul trouble.
And that's what a veteran like Rossi Karen can do for you, coming off the bench to play the point. Pass was deflected. Brooks comes away with it for Niagara. And he'll slow it down. 15:38 to go here in the second half. Cruz to Reeves, who puts it in. Kind of ugly, but it worked.
Get Reeves so active, I'm not quite sure if that was a pass or an air ball, but no matter what it was, it worked out.
Wofford misfires on the 3. Brooks with the long rebound. Gives it up to Alvin Cruz. Back to Brooks from the corner for 3. And it'll be Niagara basketball when we come back. An officials timeout here at Sovereign Bank Arena. 15-12 left to go in the second half. Niagara holding on comfortably at the moment to a 9-point lead. 55-46 on the BAC Television Network. The 2003 MAAC Hockey League Championship comes to West Point March 21st and 23rd at Army's Tate Rink. And you can purchase tickets for $12 a piece. Call 877-TIX-ARMY, 845-TIX-ARMY. 2003 MAAC Hockey League Championships later on this month at Army. And we are in the midst of March Madness basketball style here. 15-12 to go in the second half, and the Iona Gales trailing on the short end of a 55-46 score. And Niagara continues to get tremendous production from its big men. Mendez 14 points, Reeves 13 points, Darden 9, and Brooks has 9 for their 9-point lead. Reeves immediately double-teamed off the inbound. Instead, it's Cruz who misses. Brooks tips. Still loose. Wofford able to call timeout before he went out of bounds, and so the Gales will get possession. David Brooks was way up around the rim for that rebound.
Over top of everybody, huh? The young sophomore guard at 6'3", playing like 6'8", going over top everybody. Jeff Rulin signals for the 32nd timeout.
Well, the 2003 Golf Championship is back at Disney's Wide World of Sports Complex in Orlando, Florida. Next month, April 25th, 26th, and 27th at the Magnolia Golf Course. Contact Anthony Travel at 800-736-6377 or go online, anthonytravel.com, and they will put together a travel package for you. And if you've gotten spring fever, winter blues, there's no better place to go than Disney. If you're from the Northeast, become a snowbird. Why not?
I was down there last week with my family. How about these guys? Once again, there it is. Look who wears the O. I mean, I know this. I'm an O myself. You got to make sure you get the big guy to get the full circle of the O.
Making mom and dad proud. making the drive down from New Rochelle.
Not so sure about the yellow, though. It doesn't stand out like the maroon does. Niagara sharing the basketball. 17 assists on their 24 field goals. They've moved the ball very well, and they've played inside out. A lot of those assists have been from their post players. Terrific interior passing by the Purple Eagles.
Seeing the battle of the student sections, the Iona fans down from New Rochelle to our left, and the Niagara fans have made the trip from Western New York down to our right. Jamel Darden trots back out onto the floor. He and the Purple Eagles with a 55-46 lead, just 5 minutes into the second half here in Trenton, New Jersey. Brooks, Cruz, Darden, Mendez, and Reeves out there in white. Smith, Henson, Wofford, McCullough, and Soliver on the court for the Gales. Iona has won more postseason conference tournaments than any other school in MAAC history. They've won 6 times, twice under the direction of Jeff Ruland. But if they're going to make it from the quarters even to the semis, they've got to erase a 9-point deficit here in the final 14-40.
They've got to figure out a way to get their post players involved.
And here is one of them, Steve Smith to Henson. That's one way to get him involved. Henson with a little jump hook.
Well, they've got to get some points in the paint. Certainly they've been effective from the perimeter, but now all of a sudden you got Niagara out and Garden on the three-point arc. So you've got to score inside. Get some good scoring balance.
Alvin Cruz isolated on the wing. Now Mendez comes to try and post. Timeout. Almost a 5-second violation, but Niagara able to get the timeout just in the nick of time.
You saw Artie McDonald signal 4. He had a 4-second call going. The timeout saves the possession.
Well, let's take a look at the JetBlue MAAC upcoming telecasts, and we can tell you about the rest of this weekend here in Trenton, New Jersey. Coming up next, Fairfield will take on St. Peter's. The Peacocks coming off their thrilling overtime victory against Ryder last night. They're in the quarterfinals. And then our nightcap this evening, the Red Foxes of Marist against the Saints of Siena. A battle of upstate New York, a couple of old rivals doing battle here in central New Jersey. And then tomorrow, the women's championship between top-seeded Manhattan and second-seeded Siena. That's the way it's supposed to work out. Noontime on MSG and Empire.
Doesn't always happen, but the bracket playing true to form, huh? Number 1 versus number 2. Niagara right now, they're playing to form as the 4 seed, out to the lead over the 5-seeded Iona Gales by 7 right now.
The shot clock reads 11. Darden lobs into Mendez, does a nice job coming down with it and creating space. He had 3 Gales around him, yet it was not a problem.
He's a good athlete, gets off the floor, and he has great hands. Anytime the basketball's in his hands, he just snatches it away from defenders.
Well, he's got 16 points now. The career high for Mendez. He dropped 33 on Drexel in a non-league game back in December.
Coming off 25 the last time out.
Tough shot by Smith. Reeves with the outlet to Cruz. 2-on-1. Darden has to come down with it, and he stepped out of bounds. The lob pass by Cruz just a little bit out of his reach. And again, when you're running with Jamel Darden, you figure nothing's going to be out of his reach.
You figure you can put it up as high as you want, huh? He's a terrific athlete. Nearly made a spectacular catch.
Iona down 57-48 with the basketball. Soliver along the baseline. Pass hit the bottom of the backboard, and so it's a turnover. Niagara gets it back. Soliver trying to force things, went right into traffic and left his feet and had nowhere to go.
Right now, Iona has to find a spark. A little sluggish right now off the turnover. Heads down. They've got to step up and get something done on the defensive end.
Well, Steve Burt was their leading scorer yesterday against Loyola with 13 points. He is scoreless tonight, and he has been in foul trouble. We haven't even seen him here in the second half. Courtney Fields has just picked up his 4th personal foul.
And so, that's not the spark that we're looking for, huh?
You got for Fields to provide the spark, because he's going to have to go to the bench just 7 minutes into the second half.
Well, not a smart play right there. Isolated one-on-one. Niagara does a great job of creating isolations in the low post. They spread the floor, dump one guy inside. Makes it hard for Jeff Ruland to get that weak side help and the double team he's been looking for.
Cruz misses. Mendez couldn't pull it in. He does save, though. And Soliver's got it for Iona. Cross court, Wofford waits for Mendez to go by. Here's Henson from 13 feet. Darden with a rebound.
I needed to kick it out to Soliver, who was wide open at 3.
Cruz for 3. Just off the mark. Reeves and Mendez battle for it. Mendez blocked on the way up. It goes out of bounds, and it'll be Niagara ball. Joe Mihalik being warned, and the bench being warned. They felt there had to be some sort of foul in there when Reeves and Mendez both have looks and are unable to get the shot off. David Brooks dribbles back out. Niagara 57, Iona 48. 12:22 left to go here in the second half. Darden guarded by Soliver. High-low game again. Mendez, though, couldn't catch. Nice job by McCullough. Mendez is hurt down at the other end. It's a 5-on-4 for Iona. The layup by Smith. And now the whistle blows. Mendez struggles to his feet and will hobble toward the Niagara bench. A nice job by Iona at the other end to continue playing and knowing that without Mendez in there, more so than ever, take the ball right to the basket, and Steve Smith with the bucket.
Able to score inside. Obviously, Mendez, a 5-on-4 situation. Missing one of those post players. Make sure you pound it inside. Look at his numbers. He just seems to make every shot. 5 of 7 in the first half.
Iona inching its way back into the game, and we're going to take another look, perhaps. We'll look at it later, see if we can figure out exactly what happened to Mendez on that entry pass that forced him to the bench. But Iona on a 10-4 run over the last 5 minutes, yet they still trail by 7. Henson commits the foul. Reeves with good position.
Can't play post defense from behind. You got to move your feet. Instead, the reach over top by Henson.
We'll take a break. Timeout on the floor with 11:45 remaining in the second half. Niagara 57, Iona 50 here on the MAAC Television Network. Niagara 57, Iona 50. The winner moves on to the semifinals. And for Niagara, let's take a look and see if we can determine exactly what caused the injury to the knee of Juan Mendez. That's him trying to come down with the ball, and whether he landed wrong or knocked knees, hard to really tell, but you can see the pain right there immediate. But he has since checked back into the game. So coming off the last time out, Juan Mendez walking just a bit gingerly, comes back out and will test things for the Purple Eagles after the training staff for Niagara checked him out. And Mendez has been the #1 option for Niagara. He has 16 points, Reeves with 13, Darden 9, Brooks 9, and they have been ahead comfortably ever since the later stages of the first half. It was 47-38 Niagara at the intermission, and they are up by 7 with the ball right now.
That's a good matchup out front of two young, talented point guards.
Mendez, they go right to their money man, and he's unable to finish. McCullough dribbles up. Pass to the corner, Soliver. He missed Waxman, who was underneath. Steve Burt Jr. just off the bench misses the three-pointer. And another whistle, and Mook Reeves is now hurt. So the other big fella for Niagara holding his face. believe that was the play at the other end of the floor. And Reeves, checking for blood, will head to the bench. So we talked about fouls taking the big guys out for Niagara. Never did we think that injuries would stop them, but Reeves seems to be okay. Smile on his face, but again, when the game stops for an injured player, they take you out, check you over, and at the next break now, Reeves, it looks like, will likely come back in. 11:14 to go second half. Niagara by 7 with the basketball. The winner gets Manhattan in the semifinals.
And Iona's made an adjustment defensively, now shutting down the inside scoring of Mendez and Reeves.
There is Mendez. Swish.
Well, nice kick out again. The interior passing by Niagara, and the high-low. Once they double down inside, the Purple Eagles post players able to make them pay by hitting a little 15-footer.
The Niagara lead is back to 9. Four freshmen on the floor for Iona. Out there with Steve Smith, the junior.
So 5 newcomers on the floor, and McCullough, one of those freshmen, continues to step it up. He now has 14 points. How about 7 assists and 0 turnovers? Pretty good stat line, huh, from a freshman out at the point.
Down to a 6-point game. 10-12 to go here in the second half. Again, the defense forcing a potential turnover, but Brooks able to hustle back and get it. Still loose, bodies everywhere. Cruz has it. Finds Dart. And finally, we've got a foul call against Marvin McCullough.
And a freshman mistake out there by Iona. Stevie Bird trying to dribble the loose ball instead of gathering it. Instead, it turns into a situation where Niagara finally came up with it. See here, good defense to get things going. Right there, Stevie Bird trying to dribble the loose ball instead of going to the floor to come up with the possession. Same thing here. He's worried about getting out to score the layup. You got to come up with the basketball first.
Almost look like football players going after a fumble.
For a rugby scrum, that'd be a pretty good guy in a rugby scrum, huh? Nobody would get the basketball from him or the rugby.
Alvin Cruz. And we've got a whistle off the ball. Steve Smith calling for the foul. I'd like to take a moment to say hello to our viewers on the MSG Network and Empire Sports Network. Thanks for joining us here at the MAAC tournament in Sovereign Bank Arena. I'm Doug Sherman along with Rob Kennedy here in Trenton, New Jersey for the weekend. The MAAC title game will be played Monday night, 7 o'clock live on ESPN.
So Smith goes to the bench with his 3 fouls, and Courtney Fields back in with his 4 fouls.
Now Waxman is given the assignment of guarding James Reeves, who's back in after taking that shot to the head. Brooks from 20.
They worry about all their post players inside. The defense collapses, and Brooks continues to be on fire from beyond the 3-point line. A perfect 4 for 4 on the evening.
(62-53) Niagara with a 9-point lead. Burt to the baseline from 10. And again, James Reeves with another big rebound for the Purple Eagles, who can open up a double-figure lead once again. Three-second violation called against Juan Mendez. So turn it back over to Iona.
Well, he had a mismatch inside on the switch. He had Salver trying to guard him inside, so he didn't want to get out of the lane. Instead, gets called for the 3-second.
Steve Smith will come back in, and Fields goes out with his 4 fouls. Again, the Purple Eagles had only 1 turnover in the first half, and here in the second half they have committed 6. Not a bad number by any stretch of the imagination, but certainly far more than they had in the first half. Wofford back outside McCullough. Quick pass to the high post Smith, who does a nice job getting to the basket for the hoop and the foul.
A good ball movement and player movement. Smith moving without the basketball. The quick feed, as you mentioned, Doug, by McCullough, the freshman. He's done so many good things for Iona here tonight. Watch this quick pass right on a bullet, and that allows Smith to get the quick first step by the defender and create the contact.
That is something we have not seen much of the Gales here tonight. The quick passing, beating the defense, and then Smith with the quick feet to get to the hole.
They're going to have to make something happen, though, with their defense here. Jeff Ruland's team now trying to pick up in the full court press.
8 points now for Smith. 62-56, back down to 6. Brooks with the pull-up. A whistle and a foul against Smith. That's his 4th, so he and Fields both have 4.
Brooks aggressive out in the open floor. He's the guy who created the contact by going hard to the basket.
There you see Mr. Smith now with 4. We talked about the potential for foul trouble on the 2 key interior players on each side. Niagara so far has been able to avoid foul trouble, while both of Iona's guys are right on the borderline of being disqualified on fouls. Jeff Ruland has to take Smith out, and Charles Henson comes back in.
And an early season injury to Greg Jenkins, the talented 6'9" forward for Iona, creates their lack of depth inside.
He had surgery back in mid-January to Jenkins and should be back at full strength next year. But in the meantime, you're right, it certainly thins the position considerably.
Now, if they had him, I mean, they won 17 games without him. That's a big body, very talented guy inside.
Soliver for 3. Off the back plate, Henson way up there after it. Brooks knocked it out of bounds, and so Iona will keep possession.
See how long Henson is on that offensive rebound opportunity. Over top everybody. The long arms, it gets off the floor.
McCullough to the high post Henson. Goes around Cruz and lays it in.
Oh, the quickness and size of Henson. Again, so long, but also active.
Back to a 5-point game, under 8 minutes to go. And the fans who made the trip down from New Rochelle, New York to Trenton, New Jersey, making some noise.
Big offensive possession here for Niagara.
Darden stripped on his way to the basket. It's a 2-shot foul. They said that Darden was in the act of shooting. Jeff Ruland wanted a traveling call. So Darden will shoot 2. 5th in the conference this year in points per game. 17.5 points for the 6'4" junior from Las Vegas, Nevada.
And a guy who has increased his scoring numbers each and every year. Over the 1,000 point mark this year as a junior.
Two for 2. He now has 11, and we've got ourselves an officials timeout. 7:40 left to go. Jeff Ruland's Iona Gales trailing 65-58 here on the MAAC Television Network. Iona down by 7 to Niagara, 65-58, 7:40 left to go in the second half of this MAAC quarterfinal. The MAAC Player of the Year was announced yesterday, brought to you by Pepsi, the joy of Pepsi, and let's check out who. And Luis Flores and the Manhattan Jaspers await the winner of this one, the Niagara Purple Eagles and the Iona Gales. Tomorrow at 6 o'clock, they will meet in the semifinals, and that will be Manhattan's first postseason game of the year. They have had a double bye on the strength of being regular season champions. Soliver draws the contact. Darden commits the foul. That's his 3rd.
And he drew the contact by backing up instead of leaning in to create it. He jumped back. Defender was behind him.
That's foul number 5 against Niagara here in the second half. Iona has committed 7. And Soliver will shoot 2. 6'3", 170-pound freshman. On the MAAC all-rookie team on the strength of his 10 points per game.
Finished the regular season on a high note, averaging over 15 points and 4 assists per game over the last 5. Struggled in the first round game against Loyola. Just 3 of 10 from the field in that game. Just 3 of 7 so far this evening.
But he missed them both. Reeves the rebound, but again it looked like he took a finger to the eye. Marvin McCullough deflects the pass, but Brooks has it. Reeves sets a high screen that Cruz doesn't use. Instead to Mendez. High-low, taken away by Soliver. Tough angle that time on the pass. And Iona down by 7, now down by 5. Waxman with a layup.
Good patience by Soliver to allow that play to develop. All of a sudden, Waxman found himself wide open, and he found him with the basketball.
Darden pressured by Wofford. The double team with the steal. Soliver all alone for 2. It's a 3-point game, 65-62.
And the freshman by Iona getting things done at the defensive end.
Soliver now with 10. And again, more noise from the folks from New Rochelle.
So after only turning it over 1 time in the first half, Niagara all of a sudden not taking care of the basketball.
Alvin Cruz high off the glass, out of bounds. Iona basketball down 3 with a chance to tie.
And momentum's in maroon right now. Jeff Rulin's team in the midst of a run. Starts with the defense, the quickness of Soliver to come up with the clean steal and a wide open layup.
Soliver and Wofford along with McCullough in the backcourt for Iona. And again, it's a relatively young lineup for the Gales right now with Courtney Fields and Steve Smith on the bench in foul trouble. Henson back to McCullough, shot clock at 11.
And it's been this smaller, quicker lineup that's gotten them back into it.
Wofford finds a cutting Henson for the slam. It's a 1-point game.
Now the quickness of Henson, even though he's the biggest guy on the floor, so mobile out in the open floor. Terrific finish. They're back within it, and here comes the crowd.
5:37 to go second half. 65-64. This is the closest the game has been since midway through the first half. Darden tries to answer. He cannot. Out of bounds off of Iona. Soliver was sitting on the end line when he grabbed the ball. Here's another look at Henson. With the shot clock down to next to nothing. A huge basket.
The kick to finish as well, huh? Gets off the floor. Right now, Iona a little quicker out on the floor. Niagara, here's where you need a good possession. You want to try to punch it inside.
Reeves battling Waxman. Soliver comes down to get a piece. Mendez, though, cleans it up. Back to a 3-point Niagara lead.
Good execution. Get it done on the offensive glass.
20 points for Mendez, and the Purple Eagles will get the ball back off of the turnover. Well, mark that down as a key sequence. The lead was down to 1. Now Niagara has a chance to get it back to 5 or 6. Iona hasn't led since 13-11. Back at the 16-15 mark of the first half, and now Reeves with the basket and 1.
Well, excellent execution by Niagara in their half court. Each of the last 2 possessions, your team struggling offensively. Iona on a roll. You want to pound it inside to your strength. Reeves doing a good job shaping up. They give him the basketball. He missed his last shot. This time he's able to score it inside despite the contact.
So Reeves with 15 points at the line, trying to complete a 3-point play. He's a 57% foul shooter.
Always important for your team to know their strengths, huh? You're struggling, where's our strength? Inside in the paint, get those guys touches.
Mendez has 20, Reeves has 16. It's back to a 6-point Niagara lead. From the corner, Wofford can't connect. Mendez the rebound. He didn't see Fields, though. Took it right away. Wofford from the other baseline pulls it out.
Well, he couldn't come up with a clean catch, and the little bobble allowed the defense to rotate out.
Fields and Smith both back in the game for Iona. Smith's pass knocked out of bounds. Iona will have it with 22 seconds on the shot clock. McCullough, Wolford, and Soliver in the backcourt for the Gales. Fields and Smith up front.
Niagara's got to shade the shooters out of the zone defense.
McCullough fouled by Reeves. That's his fourth.
The quickness of McCullough trying to find gaps in that zone defense. Once he gets himself inside the lane, good things happen. That time, a foul from Reeves.
Iona down 70-64 with the inbound. Reeves the rebound. Brooks is out ahead. Mendez finds him. And he lays it in just like that. It's an 8-point game, 4 minutes to go.
And you can run if you rebound. And it's again Reeves clearing the glass, getting the Purple Eagles out and running.
Fields from 13 feet. And if that's on Reeves, that's his fifth. Indeed it is. Mook Reeves has fouled out of this contest, and Fields can go to the line with a three-point play opportunity.
It's a huge possession. You get the lead back down to 6, and you send Reeves to the bench. He's been such a big factor at both ends of the floor. Not just his 16 points, but getting it done on the backboards as well.
Reeves is done after having scored 16 points and having grabbed 8 rebounds. And so the Niagara fans chant Mook. He also had 6 assists, and you talked about the interior passing, the high-low game, and the symmetry between Mendez and Reeves. They've worked very well together tonight.
And now when you take one of those guys in the high-low situation out, it changes the shape of their team. Now Mathis comes back into the game, the guy who starts for them, but clearly not the same inside presence as Reeves. Iona had become a little too in love with the three-point line last 3-4 possessions. This time they got the ball to the high post, and you see good things happen.
Darden rebounds the missed free throw, and he tries with a burst of speed to go the other way, and Smith picks up the foul, and for him, that's his 5th. So Steve Smith has fouled out of the game. Well, here we go. Each team has lost one of its big post players.
Smith not quite as big physically as Reeves, but certainly he's a guy that gets it done inside. Their second leading scorer on the season. Fouls out with 8 points and 4 rebounds.
And so now Jeff Rulin has to adjust. And again, keep in mind, Courtney Fields has been playing the last couple of minutes with 4 fouls himself.
The quickness of Darden, as you said, Doug, a little burst of speed.
Yep.
That's his improved ball skills. Worked on 2 things this offseason. His outside shooting, now he can step back and keep defenses honest with his three-point shooting ability and his ability to put the ball to the floor as well. So he's expanded his game.
Although we saw about 3 or 4 minutes ago he tried to split the double team with the handle and it didn't work out. So not yet a point guard, but certainly turning more into a 2 guard.
Yeah, what he's become now is a basketball player as opposed to just an athlete.
Yep. And so Tremel Darden at the line to shoot 1 and 1. That was the 9th team foul against Iona. Niagara has committed 7 here with 3:40 to go in the second half. $12 points for Darden, 16 for Reeves, 20 for Mendez, and 15 for Brooks off the bench.
Pretty good balance, 4 guys in double figures.
And Darden sends us to a timeout. David Brooks has had the hot hand off the bench with his 15 points. And he and the Purple Eagles back on top by 9 on the MAAC television network.
This game is brought to you in part by the Pepsi-Cola Company, the joy of Pepsi. By GHI, healthcare coverage from A to Z. HSBC, the world's local bank. And by FYE for your entertainment, music, movies, games, and more.
This copyrighted telecast of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the MAAC and MAAC Properties, a division of Post Communications Incorporated. Along with Rob Kennedy, this is Doug Sherman. You're looking at Trammell Darden, whose Niagara Purple Eagles have a 74-66 lead with 3:40 left to go. Their lead was trimmed to 1 about 4 minutes ago, but they have gone back to an 8-point lead, and that's the 4th foul on Alvin Cruz. And so now he is on that bubble of potentially being disqualified. Should let you know James Reeves has fouled out for Niagara. Steve Smith is fouled out for Iona. Courtney Fields has 4 fouls. And now Alvin Cruz has 4 fouls. So Wofford will shoot a 1-and-1. Off of Mendez, so Iona gets the ball back, down 74-66.
How about the hustle by McCullough to force that basketball off Mendez? The smallest guy on the floor going up against Mendez, the best rebounder in the MAAC, and somehow the little guy kept it alive.
Well, perhaps Mendez was anticipating a better shot than that out of Maceo Wofford. An 80% foul shooter, barely nicked the rim.
That was woeful, huh?
Mendez is going to be called for the foul. And we've got 2 free throws coming up for Iona. For Mendez, that's just his 2nd. 9th team foul against Niagara, but it is a 2-shot foul for Courtney Fields. Now this is an Iona team that earlier this season upset the North Carolina Tar Heels. That came in Madison Square Garden back on December 27th. In that game, the Iona defense was stifling. 17 steals, including 6 by Steve Smith and Jeff Rulin's club. Really making some noise on the national scene. And at the time, North Carolina was a ranked team and held in a much higher status than they have been in the later part of the season.
Their first win over a ranked team since way back in 1980 when they upset Louisville in the Garden, one of the most memorable games in Iona history. How about the big guy, Jeff Rulin, with 30 points, 21 rebounds. Some pretty good numbers for the former player and now coach of the Gales.
74-67, 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Wofford left his feet, had nowhere to go with it. And there for the steal, James Mathis. Under 3 minutes to play.
Got himself into the lane, but then got himself out of control.
The winner of this game will play the top-seeded Manhattan Jaspers here in Trenton tomorrow night in the semifinals at 6 p.m. Cruz misfired. Wofford with a long rebound.
Shot clock was winding down into single digits.
Soliver, we've got a whistle. And the blocking violation goes against Mendez, or Mathis. James Mathis gets the foul. His 3rd and the 10th against Niagara.
Iona's got to get something done from the foul line. They've left a lot of opportunities 15 feet away. Especially coming down the stretch here. We've seen some poor foul shooting by the Gales.
Soliver, a 78% foul shooter. Can't get the roll. Well, Iona is a perfect 2-0 so far here at Sovereign Bank Arena. Won a regular season game and then won yesterday in the play-in round against Loyola. Meanwhile, Soliver trying to break out of that slump at the line again. He is a good foul shooter at just under 80%. And he can't get the roll on that one. Out of bounds off Henson. And Niagara will get it.
Jeff Rulin not happy. Thought the call should have gone the other way. Can't be happy with the way they're shooting it from the foul line. Iona just 6 of 15 from the 15-foot mark.
2 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Niagara with the ball and a 7-point lead.
Once again, they'll look to take some time off the clock, but the Iona defense won't allow it.
Soliver fouled before the shot by Tremel Darden, and that's his fourth. And so again, Iona will get a chance to go back to the line where they have struggled lately.
Again, Niagara trying to take time off the clock. Here's the defensive pressure, started by McCullough, then the quickness of Soliver to get to the basketball first. But now he's going to have to go to the line where he's 0 for 4. Again, as you said, Doug, an 80% foul shooter. Right now, he's got to block that out of his mind and step up and convert.
Now, the last two were soft shots. He just didn't get the roll. It's not like he's been throwing up bricks. Again, a soft shot that he just can't get to go, but you've got to convert with just over 2 minutes to go.
6 for 16. Foul shooting woes continue.
Stay tuned here on MSG and Empire. We've got more MAAC basketball coming up. Our second round game to follow this one. Fairfield against St. Peter's. Soliver gets the free throw and a 30-second timeout called by Jeff Rulin.
Allows him to regroup and also set up in the full court pressure. They're going to have to make things happen with their defense.
Niagara has not had a field goal in the last minute 45, yet they maintain their 6-point lead. And again, I just mentioned what we've got coming up the rest of the evening here on a Saturday night in Trenton. It's brought to you by JetBlue Airways. It's not the only way to fly, but it should be. And tonight we've got the Fairfield St. Peter's game upcoming. Then the nightcap, Siena versus Marist. Tomorrow, the men's semifinals have the winner of this one taking on the top-seeded Manhattan Jaspers at 6 p.m. Then the second men's semi, 8:15 or thereabouts. And then the men's championship on ESPN, 7 o'clock. The women's championship is tomorrow at noon. Number 1 seeded Lady Jaspers of Manhattan against the Saints of Siena. The number 2 seed. Hope you can join us. Tremel Darden breaks the pressure. Hands off to Cruz, who's right in that coffin corner. Darden made the mistake initially of stopping there, and then he handed off to Cruz to either call the timeout or be charged with the turnover. Thanks, buddy.
Put him in a tough spot, but his coach bailed him out.
Yep.
That was a timeout from the sidelines.
So Niagara will talk it over. Minute 57 to go. The Purple Eagles led at halftime, 47-38. Iona cut the lead down to 1 with about 5.5 minutes to go, but that's the closest the Gales could get because immediately Niagara answered back and put the lead back to about 6, 7, 8.
And it was post play inside, an offensive putback, and then a score by Reeves that got them those 2 key buckets at that critical time.
The MAAC Rookie of the Year brought to you by HSBC, the world's local bank, and no surprise there. St. Peter's guard Keidron Clark won it on the men's side, while Katie Shirley from Loyola College won it on the girls' side, on the ladies' side.
Get a chance to see Kiki Clark in our next game. How about the young freshman putting up 36 in the overtime win last night? Terrific performance by the 5'8 guard.
15 seconds on the shot clock. Darden isolated with a 2-man game with Mendez on the post, but he chose to bring it back out. Now Mendez was the option, but Henson knocked it out of bounds. And with 8 seconds on the shot clock, Niagara will have to inbound. It looked like Niagara had exactly what they wanted, but Darden turned around and came back out to the perimeter.
Fields putting pretty good pressure on him defensively. Playing active defense despite the 4 fouls.
Cruz, the trigger man from the sideline. Darden picks up the dribble. Now Mendez fires it up. Rebound McCullough. Down 6. Here come the Gales. Soliver, though, can't save the ball. Did he get the timeout? Yes. Somehow Ken Clark, the official, heard or saw something that signified a timeout.
Yes, he knew he was going to try to call for the timeout. Good hustle by Soliver. See McCullough, he's done a great job running the team all game. Doesn't have a turnover and still doesn't have one because Soliver somehow gets the timeout. He was calling for it, but I don't know how the official trailing 20 feet behind him could come up with that.
I don't know either. That's amazing. He's got better ears than I do. 74-68 Niagara with 1:27 to go, and Jeff Rulin's club with just 1 timeout remaining. As you see, Niagara with a couple of full timeouts to go. The winner gets Manhattan tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Darden, Cruz, Mathis, Brooks, and Mendez out on the floor for Niagara. Iona counters with Soliver, McCullough, Wofford, Fields, and Henson. Again, Reeves and Smith have fouled out. Marvin McCullough will inbound underneath his own basket. Wofford from 20. Nothing but net.
He's been quiet since hitting those quick threes to start the game. Huge one right there. Gets it back down to a one-possession game.
Wofford now with a dozen. A minute 12 to go. Darden is fouled by Wofford. And I'm not sure by the expression of Jeff Ruland. Indeed, he didn't want that foul committed. He's unhappy that Wofford committed that foul.
They can't bail him out. Niagara's struggling offensively. Last couple possessions, they've gone deep into the shot clock and have not gotten good shots. Instead, you bail them out by committing the quick foul.
By the way, Wofford committed that foul. It almost gave me the impression that that's what they were trying to do, which makes no sense. So Darden will shoot 2. He is a 72% foul shooter.
He's got that strange hitch in his shot. It's not the greatest flow of a release, but it's effective. Gets the ball to the top point, slows down, and then lets it go.
Well, you're taught to keep your shooting elbow in, but he doesn't really do that. It's out, and there it's in, but he gets the roll. Nice soft shot nonetheless. 15 points now for Darden. Back to a 5-point lead. Wofford drives the baseline. And he gets the roll. 1 minute to go. It's back to a 3-point game.
Right where we were before the foul by Maceo Wofford. But now I think you're going to see him play it straight up.
Mendez comes back to relief. And now Cruz dribbles up against Ricky Soliver, who ties him up for a moment. Cruz gets away. 50 seconds to go, and now the foul. Niagara wanted an intentional foul, but Ricky Soliver called for the reach-in. It's a 2-shot foul.
And again, Jeff Ruland yelling at his players, why are we giving up the foul? That is not what he wanted from the sideline. Disbelief on the coach's face.
And again, it looked like that was the intended result. That's what the Iona players seemed to be looking to do. They felt like they needed to foul.
And again, no reason.
No.
Niagara struggling in their half-court sets. You just bail them out and put them to the foul line.
And so Alvin Cruz hits the first, trying to make Iona pay for the mental breakdown.
You can expect that from a freshman at times, but the play before it was their senior leader, Maceo Wofford, who gave up the quick foul. You got to make sure you know time and score situations.
Cruz gets the roll, 2 out of 2 for the sophomore point guard from Puerto Rico. 78-73. Iona needs to score quickly and can't do it. Fields missed the layup, and there's Juan Mendez, the league leader in rebounding, pulling down a huge defensive board.
Iona attacking quickly. How about Courtney Fields covers so much ground, but then misses the easy layup. Mendez right there to clean things up, as he always does on the glass.
With his 8th double-double so far this season. 20 points and 10 rebounds, and Jeff Ruland can only chuckle. And I'm telling you, that's not a happy chuckle. Mendez with a 5-point lead, now unable to make it a 3-possession game, even if he hits this one. That was a big miss right there.
Remember, for Iona, Wofford, their best 3-point shooter at 45%. McCullough's also been hot from beyond the 3-point line tonight.
Wofford lost the dribble. Tremel Darden on the breakaway. And that should do it. A 7-point Niagara lead.
Well, Darden with the great play defensively, and then he might as well finish it off. That got his bench up and cheering. As you said, this pretty much puts it away. Great individual play at both ends of the floor by Darden. How about the speed, quickness, and then the leaping ability as well? He nearly kicked the rim on that dunk.
Well, that was one occasion where the Iona defenders were trying to grab and should have tried to keep him from having the breakaway dunk, but couldn't catch him because Darden was too fast.
Too fast, and then he lets everybody know about it. The small student section. made the trip down from Buffalo. They were up and jumping as well.
Absolutely, making it worth their trip. Tremel Darden with that slam. Now a 6-2 Niagara run over the last 40 seconds.
6-point run, but 4 of those from the foul line by bad fouls by Iona. That's the first bucket in that 6-2 run.
Darden now with 17 points. McCullough down the lane. And he gets the roll with 21 and 2/10 seconds to go. It's back to a 5-point game.
McCullough's done all that he can to try and keep his team in this game. Has 16 points. He's played well in the games against Niagara, including a career-high 23 in the win against the Purple Eagles the last time these two teams met.
And Iona has 4 players in double figures. Henson with 9, Smith fouled out with 8. Usually when you get that kind of balance, you figure you're going to win the game, but now still trailing by 5.
Talked about double-doubles from Mendez with points and rebounds. How about a double-double for the young freshman point guard? McCullough, 16 points, 12 assists. He's also done a great job as far as taking care of the basketball, and that's a career-high 12 assists.
And again, these numbers we're pointing out for the Gales usually would indicate a victory, but they've been going uphill all game long.
They gave up the 47 points defensively in the first half, and that put them in the hole. And as you said, they've been trying to make up that ground all game long.
We get another look at Randy Williams coming into the game, and Steve Burt Jr. as well. Get your smaller, quicker players in there to try and go for the steal or commit the quick foul. And certainly Randy Williams, a 6'3 junior from the Bronx, with only a minute or 2 of playing time here, is not in any sort of foul worries at all. He can track somebody down. If you're Iona, who do you look to foul on the Niagara team? Darden's a 72% shooter, Cruz 69, Mendez 74.
Well, Mathis a 52% foul shooter, so they have him inbound the basketball.
Yep, and then it is the foul given up to Juan Mendez at 74%, and so he will shoot 2. Good job by Coach Joe Mihalik to make sure that his one poor free throw shooter is the inbound man. It only was going to get the ball back if he needed to reverse it.
Exactly.
So Mendez with a double-double at the line. 20 points, 10 rebounds on 9 of 15 shooting. From the line, though, only 2 out of 6 here tonight. Now Henson and Fields return. Burt and Williams go out.
One shot.
6-point Niagara lead. McCullough right to the basket. Over Darden. Rebound Darden. 10 seconds left and a foul by McCullough.
Well, looks like.
No. Yes, a foul by McCullough.
It looks like Niagara's going to survive and advance on into the semifinals against Manhattan. Tell you what, both these teams, when you look at them, they've got just about everything coming back. So these two teams are going to be battling out over the next couple years in MAAC tournament play. Iona, they lose just Maceo Wofford, and you replace him with a guy sitting out, Deshaun Williams, who can score it a bunch. Same thing for Joe Mihalik. Their only senior who plays a lot of minutes, and not that many minutes, is Rossi Karen. So both these teams with the bulk of their team back.
Although here tonight, we shouldn't minimize the role that Rossi Karen played in the first half. When Cruz got the 2 fouls, Karen came in and played 6 or 7 minutes in that first half when Niagara was able to maintain and push that lead up to 9.
Absolutely. He ran the team, didn't turn it over. Just 1 turnover in the first half for the Purple Eagles, who shot it well, got out to that first half lead, and then been able to hang on here in the second.
In spite of missing a ton of free throws down the stretch. 5 seconds to go. Fields blocked by Mendez. And that will do it. Mendez pulls down the rebound off the block shot, and Niagara moves on to the semis to take on Manhattan.
And fitting that Mendez involved with the last play, because he was involved in a ton of plays all game long. Yet another double-double for the talented sophomore.
For our viewers on the Empire Network, thanks for joining us. We will see you tomorrow at noon. For the rest of our viewers on MSG, stay tuned for more exciting action here at the MAAC Tournament. You're watching the MAAC Television Network. Back in Trenton, New Jersey, where the Niagara Purple Eagles have defeated Iona 81-75. The Purple Eagles will meet Manhattan in the semifinals tomorrow night. Our Pepsi player of the game, Juan Mendez, 21 points, 11 rebounds, and he's standing by with Rob Kennedy. Rob?
Thanks a lot, Doug, and congratulations, Juan. Terrific game, yet another double-double. It seems like every game now you're putting up those kind of numbers.
Yeah, it's not me, man. Honestly, I think it's a team. It's a team effort. These guys relieve pressure off me on the court, and I just do my thing. I just try to come out and get a win.
And you and Alvin Cruz played together in high school, and you said something to him in Spanish there on the bench. Tell me what you said.
Yes, I said it in Spanish. Controla el juego, that meaning control the game, because he's the point guard. And that's very important, the point guard, to control the game.
And obviously, most times it's guards that control the games, but your post players do as well. You and Reeves did a terrific job in the high-low set all game long. Was that something you worked on all week?
Well, we've been working on that the whole year, honestly, And we knew we could come in here and take advantage of these guys. Because down low, me and Mook are just unstoppable if you look at it. Look, statistically, we're pretty good,
Unstoppable because you finish so many plays. Your coach has called you the best finisher he's ever coached. How do you get yourself inside and be able to go through contact at will?
I don't try to think of that. I just go up and just hope it go in. I don't really think, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to try to score the basket. I just go up and score.
All right, now you advance into the semifinals. You have Manhattan. Your thoughts on the Jaspers?
Well, we're going to try to go in there tomorrow and play hard. That's it, and win.
All right, well, if you do that and keep finishing inside, you'll certainly have a chance. Congratulations and good luck tomorrow in the semis.
Thank you.
Back to you, Doug.
All right, thank you, Rob. The Pepsi player of the game, Juan Mendez. Pepsi, the joy of Pepsi. Another double-double, his 8th of the season. We'll take a break, come back. Rob will talk to the winning coach, Joe Mihalik of the Purple Eagles. They move on to the semis with an 81-75 win on the MAAC Television Network.